theme is being a water saver means, and you tell us through your artwork. So we're real excited about that. Otherwise, I don't really have too much else tonight other than just please stay cool out there and drink plenty of fluids, and happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
Thank you, Greg. Any questions from the MAC or the audience? Seeing none?
Yeah, a lot of good kids. Here's the final page. All these kids got a $100 scholarship
Last year.
Teachers too, yeah. So it's a great community.
Yeah,
and white
yeah, and we also select kind of strategically to make sure that we get representation from all of the elementary schools in our district, including the ones in Bloomington. Yeah. So. Excellent. Yes. Good. Yes. Yeah. And then I know it's still a little ways away, but I know the team is already working on our Earth Day for next year, and I know a few people here had asked me about it, but we did get In and Out again, so we're gonna have In and Out again next year. So Earth Day 2025. Okay, perfect. Say she has the date. Yeah. So definitely looking forward to that again. But yeah, if there's any questions, be happy to answer.
Guess we're all good.
All right. Thank you all.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Okay, our next item is an informational presentation, the Bloomington Roadwork Improvement Project. Bob Vizito. Bob?
Hello, everyone. I'm Bob with the Bloomington Roadwork Project to give you your monthly update. You can go to the next slide. Basically, what we're here to do is to widen Locust and Armstrong and put in storms and sewers and sidewalks and horse trails. So you can see the area. And then the next project is you can see on the slide the streets and the locations of where we're working right now. If you pop the next slide. That's what, back up one. That's basically what Locust and Armstrong are going to look like when they're done. You can see they have the trails. Underneath, the street's going to get widened. There's curbs and gutters going on along the east side of Locust, where those houses don't have any curbs and they have a lot of storm issues right now. We're putting in the storm drains and the curbs, so that doesn't happen any longer, in addition to upgrading the streets and putting the signals in. Next slide. We started on 11th Street to put some sewer lines in, and I think we've done a little bit of that work already. There's more work to come, but we've started and completed one section of it already. And there's just a temporary patch there, but it's going to be, when the road's done, it's going to be a much better configuration than it is now. We don't have the permanent patch there, but that portion of the work has been done on 11th Street. Next. In order to do the work, everyone probably knows Locust is closed. So you can see the detour in yellow. And there is some other work going on that's not part of this project, but you may be affected. I know some people we've gotten calls, and we had to basically direct them to the person who was actually doing the job. We're not. We've only closed Locust so far in part of 11th. Next slide. As you can see, we talked about this already. Locust is going to have those traffic signals. That's where it's ultimately, when it's all done, it's going to have those three signals that I think it's 7th and, 7th, 11th, and Europa. All right, next. So just to give you a quick summary, 11th Street, we've done a portion of the work. It was closed and opened already. Locust is going to begin the locust closure began on June 11th. It's not going to be open until next year. It's going to take us a while to put those storm drains in and do that street work. Any other questions? Yes. We have a meeting with the school district. We're not going to do anything without their approval, consent, acknowledgement, because we have to go past that school. We're not going to do, we might do it either at night, probably. We're going to wait for a holiday, like a Christmas shutdown or whenever we all agree that it's good for the community. We're talking to them. We don't have the permit to do it yet. We expect to get it soon. And so we have a line, but it's only a partial closure. But nevertheless, we're aware. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we understand. That's why we've talked to, like I said, it's mainly the school, and we're in contact with them, and we're working with them on whatever suits them is what we're going to do. Absolutely. Yeah, we're here every month. And once we find out what suits them and when we get our permit, because we don't know exactly, then we'll let you know.
I had some of the same concerns that Teresa had about Linden, and heard the same concerns voiced by the community about being able to get their kids to and from school at Zimmerman during this. So you're saying that you guys are going to make sure that that's not.
I think we have a meeting with the school Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So we're directly hand in glove with the school on this. Whatever they want is what we'll do.
Okay, we'll work around that. And that's so. This project, just to be clear, this is being paid for. This is part of the 6 warehouses that are being built in Fontana. Correct? This work, even though some of it's occurring in Bloomington.
Right. It's actually 4. But I think it's down to 4 now. Warehouses. But
they're down to 4 now. So
yeah, it's being generally funded by that.
Right. So the improvements that we're getting are being funded by the Fontana project.
Yes.
Anything? Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for the update. Keep us posted. Okay. Our next item is approval of minutes from the June 5th, 2024 meeting. I'll entertain a motion. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Our next item is public comment. Thank you for being patient waiting this evening with all the presentations. Our first commenter this evening is Dave Jane. All right. Thank you, Dave. Our next speaker is Donna. Don't have a last name. Donna? Is she here? Okay. Don't see Donna. We'll move along. Pam Gill. Good evening, Pam. You have a card in to speak.
Well,
You need to come up to the podium.
that's time. Gary, your mic's not on.
Entertain some more questions afterwards. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Seeing no more public comments, we'll move on to discussion items. Old business. MAC members, any old business? Okay. I have one bit of old business. A couple, 3 months ago, talked about trying to get Union Pacific Railroad here to tell the community what the heck they're doing with their intermodal facility and how it's going to impact the community. And it would sure be nice to know. I know the railroads kind of, they kind of do their own thing, but I think they owe it to this community to come and tell us what they're up to over there and how it's going to impact as far as the number of trucks, trips, and that type of thing that they're going to be bringing in and out of there. So if we could kind of continue to try to get them here, maybe Lupe Valdez or
Yeah.
I believe it's Mr. Candelaria, I believe it's.
Yeah. So we continue to have an ongoing conversation, working on getting the representative out here. Just the timing has not worked out for their schedule. But we continue to have that. So
Okay,
as soon
yeah,
as
we
we
can keep
confirm
after them
it,
and get them out here. That'd
yeah,
be great.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you. New business, Teresa?
I have new business. I have a suggestion that I would like to propose to Supervisor's office. So I was wondering, I'm not sure if this is allowable, but I was wondering, along with our minutes and our agenda, if we can start keeping an open item list, which would be basically anything that maybe somebody from the community has asked for a question to come back to be answered, or something that we've addressed saying we would like an answer. Maybe we can keep an open item list going until that's something is answered, and then we can have it dropped off. This way we can make sure, because there's so much going on. I feel like I don't want anything to get lost in notes, and then we forget, and like 3 months later, we're like, oh yeah, remember this? So I was wondering, is that something that's possible?
Can definitely inquire just because of the way that the agenda has to be, adjourned and done. It does have a template or a thing, but we could definitely inquire on how we can at least have that, even if it's not on the agenda, but how we can.
No, not on
continue
the
to have
agenda,
that.
just like a separate list, like for us, so that we can
Yeah.
know, like, hey, this, and then we can make sure that things are getting addressed.
Yeah.
That way we don't want something to happen
Yeah.
and it gets,
No, absolutely. And then even with constituent concerns, we can make sure to go ahead and send a report of what, because some of them get taken care of on the spot or following the meeting, but making sure that you guys are aware of some of the things that get taken care of. Yeah.
yes, thank you. I
of course.
appreciate that.
Business? for me? Okay. Okay, I have one kind of important item, and I think, Teresa, you mentioned it earlier, talked about the stuff that comes up in the community regarding concerns about, geez, are the number of streets going to go down? Is Bloomington High School going to get torn down? Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? And very concerned about these things happening. And personally, and maybe some of you have had this happen, I've had multiple letters, fake checks sent to my house. We want to buy your house, and well, warehouses are coming, and you better sell your house. And these aren't even warehouse people that are doing this. These are real estate people that are looking to drum up business in the community. But what's happening? It's having a very, very negative impact on people. They're afraid. They're afraid, and it really goes into a false narrative that the whole community of Bloomington is all going to go industrial, and it's going to be nothing but warehouses, and it's really troublesome because that was never the intent. When the MAC allowed those two areas for industrial development, the other part of that was keep your hands off the rest of the community. But people are making an attempt, and I don't even think they're necessarily part of the warehouse industry. They're just real estate people that are trying to prey on people and buy their house. But it's causing a lot of consternation and drama in the community, and people are continuing to be concerned about, am I going to have a house? What's going to happen? And so I would like to make a suggestion, and tonight is not really the night to hear it because the full MAC's not here, but I would like to ask us to agendize an item to write the supervisor a letter and get his support to go to the County Board of Supervisors to request a moratorium on any type of industrial development, including not only warehouses, but I'm talking about truck yards and other industrial items that are not on already industrial zone properties. And that would allow the community to kind of breathe a sense of relief that, no, I'm not going to have a warehouse next to me in a month from now. I don't think it's happening. You heard the supervisor say that the warehouse demand is diminishing for warehouses. But in reality, all this stuff that goes on all the time, and a lot of it's in social media, and it creates a false negative stereotype about Bloomington that we're going to be this warehouse central, and the whole town is just going to be overrun with warehouses. And I don't believe that's true. But it's time. I think it's time for people to show their cards at the Board of Supervisors as well. And I know Supervisor Baca, he voted against the last warehouse, the Prologis one he mentioned, and that's on a property that's zoned industrial already. So I can't imagine he's going to support any warehouses on non-industrial properties. and rezones, but there's 4 other people voting on that board that they don't represent us. I mean, they were not elected by Bloomington residents. So it would be interesting if we could bring something like that forward from the MAC to our supervisor, and he would be willing to take it to the board eventually for a vote and see if we're going to get support from our board of supervisors now to allow this to continue, which is, like I said, it's causing issues within the community, and people are really getting upset and uptight about what's going on. So is that possible, Jessica? Can we do that?
You would have to inquire, and like we mentioned, that can be something that we touch on once other MAC members, but I'll make sure to inquire in the meantime.
Okay, and I think that puts our supervisor also in a good position. I think that he, you know, wants to go to bat for the community, and I think that he would be supportive of that. I don't know about the political, thing on his end as far as with his board members, but that's not really our problem over here in Bloomington. Our problem is what's going down on the ground floor here, and I think if we could make that happen, at least from the MAC, and make that recommendation, it shows the community and the residents really what we're all about, what we're for, what we're against. I mean, we've had warehouse projects here. We had one on Cedar between 8th and 9th, and I think pretty much unanimously that was kind of poo-pooed by the MAC. They weren't in favor of that, but from what I hear, that thing still may be moving forward. And so, it's just kind of time to put our cards out on the table, I think, and let the community know exactly where we stand, and hopefully the supervisor would go along with that, and then it's up to the board. So, I know it's a big ask, politically. But I think it's necessary because of what you see. Teresa already mentioned the same thing tonight. So, if we could put that on the agenda for our next meeting to have a discussion on them, and maybe you can get some input from the supervisor, from your office and stuff, and let us know if that's feasible. Right. In other words, and I think we would also get a buy-in from the school district with that as well. They've been very adamant about warehouses close to their locations. But not only warehouses, but also they've been a leader in opposing illegal truck yards next to their facilities as well. So I think we might very well be able to get a buy-in from the school board and support a supportive letter to what the MAC is saying. I think we could do that, and I think it would be very powerful for our supervisor to have that. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Any other new business, or Teresa? Not to my knowledge. And people are fearful. I mean, that's what I'm picking up. A lot of people are fearful. Is our street going to get knocked down? Is what's going to happen? Are we going to have a home in a year or two? What's going on? I think this would go a long way to putting that to bed and put it to rest.
Always do encourage that people do call our office and inquire on certain things, whatever concern may be. And we do encourage community members to also call us and ask directly to our office. We don't have to wait to come out and do updates during the MAC or getting that information out. If anybody has a question, you're always welcome to call our office, and we ensure to take care of that.
Okay. Thank you, Jessica. Okay, if there's no more new business, so we'll move on to community events. Dave, you had one in October, you mentioned. Anybody else here, MAC members? For that, moving on to member reports. Lisa? Okay, thank you, Teresa. Anna? All right, thank you very much. So before we adjourn the meeting, I want to thank the residents, those people that took the time out of their busy schedule to come and attend and participate. Without you guys, obviously, we wouldn't have a meeting. So, appreciate everybody's time that takes the time to come here and listen to what's going on and participate in the process. So, I appreciate that. One last thing for our staff. Originally, my understanding was the warehouse that was built on Laurel and Slover, they were supposed to provide, upon completion, they were going to provide actually funding for safe routes to schools on the west side of Laurel, down towards the high school. And to my knowledge, that has never been done yet. There's a industrial truck yard there that's kind of blocking everything, where trucks are actually parked on the over what would be the curb and gutter and stuff, and that work's never been done. And as I recall, the settlement provided, I think, $225,000 to do that work upon completion and opening of the warehouse, which has been open, for a couple of years. So I'm just kind of curious if that slipped between the cracks, if that's one of the things that Teresa, we need to put on the list, or but if we can find out about what's going on with that and get an answer, that would be awesome. So, okay, great. So if nobody has anything else, motion to adjourn? All right, okay. Okay, meeting's adjourned at 8:16. Thank you for coming, everybody. Appreciate it. Come see us next month.